I'm actually really excited about this. This is really new for me, but I'm also like a bit nervous. I really want this to go well. I felt a bit uninspired recently in terms of making any new cosplays. Oh, it's not that I felt uninspired, it's that I felt unmotivated. But I've recently, I don't know, something has awoken me. And I had a very sudden urge to make a very specific cosplay. So I went to a couple of charity shops near me and I found the perfect material. I'm not really a sewer though. I sewed a tiny bit when it came to my Scarlet Witch costume. I just did like the sleeves and they were a mess because I think it's the sewing machine, it's not very good. Maybe it's me, who knows. But then other than that, I think I sewed like a skirt in home economics when I was like 15. And then I've sewed like 1 or 2 things, but always they were like really messy. So with this costume, because first of all, I wanted it to look good, but also because I didn't really know where to start, I decided to get a pattern. So I actually got 2 patterns for 2 different parts of the costume. My plan is to make the dress and cloak from the promo poster for the new Game of Thrones prequel, House of Dragons. It seemed like it should be fairly easy because I'm thinking in my head,
the cloak covers most of it, right? And a cloak seems like it should be pretty straightforward to make. So if I can nail the cloak, the rest of it I should get away with because it's mostly hidden.
I went to a charity shop and I got curtains because I obviously need quite a lot of material. I found these red curtains. There's a pair of them obviously, which should be for the dress. And it's actually got these little, I don't know what you call them, little things on them, little tassels. But I actually think they enhance it. I think that'll look really nice. I just need to make sure that it's all the same way around, I guess. That'll be the pressure there. And then for the cloak, I got another set of curtains. It's like this more gold, thick fabric, which I actually thought was perfect. I think I should have more than enough material. Kind of had a little peek at the patterns and it seems pretty straightforward. I think the dress will be the most complicated part because there's a lot of hemming and a lot of like sewing things together. The cloak, as far as I can see, is like 2 pieces, sew them together, dual hem, that's it. So that hopefully should be pretty straightforward. And as I say, as long as the cloak is good, I should hopefully get away with the rest. I got some patterns off Etsy. They were actually pretty cheap, especially considering that I got 2 dress patterns. I got like an underdress and an overdress. I'm gonna be making the underdress as an overdress. Well, as the only dress. So, from not being a sewer to sewing 2 full-length things, that's the plan. I'm also gonna make a, just wearing this kind of like, I don't know, like a brace thing over the cloak. I'm gonna make that out of foam and I'm gonna make her headpiece out of foam. And I've got like a blonde wig that hopefully I can somewhat style to just being an updo. It's not a very good wig, it's like the first wig I ever bought, but it's the only blonde wig I have, which is kind of crazy because I need to get more blonde wigs. And then that's kind of it. I've already thought of locations where I want to do like an after shoot, but I'm like getting way ahead of myself. I'm hoping I can do this within like 2 days. I'm about to go to America in a couple of days and I actually have a lot to do, but I've decided to try and squeeze this in. Let's go! I start by ripping up the stitching to separate the inner lining of the curtain from the red material that I actually want to use for the dress. And then I do a little dance. I've realized I can use the lining of the curtain as like a mock-up. It does say to make a mock-up, and I usually ignore things like that. I think it might be a good idea, seeing as I want this to go quite right. Also, if the mock-up is good, I could use it as an underdress for either this or for something else, so I don't think it'd be a waste to do so. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm just super excited to get sewing. I'm like nervous about using the sewing machine just because when I used it for my last project, it didn't work very well, and I don't know if that's my skill level or if that's because it is I bought a really cheap sewing machine because I couldn't afford a good one. So I'm kind of thinking it's a sewing machine, but it could also just be that I'm bad at sewing. Or maybe it's the thread that's bad. The thread kept essentially breaking. Okay, so I've never used patterns before, so this next bit is going to be interesting because I don't really know what I'm doing. Because this is a digital download, I obviously had to print it onto A4 pages, so it means that I have to puzzle it together. Should there be a gap there? I'm missing like the first bits, but I don't know, I don't understand how. And this, yeah, and then go from there, I guess. This is definitely not going to be enough, seeing as I have to get 2 of these and 2 of these plus everything for the top half. I can't even get 2 of these on here, I don't think. Because they want me to cut it out as one piece. And that's not gonna happen. I could potentially get it if it wasn't one piece, so I could probably do this and then flip it and do that, but that's not what it wants me to do. So I may have to go out and get more material. Very unlikely that I'd be able to get the same material, exactly the same curtains again. It's a mess, but despite all the odds, I managed to get all of the fabric that I needed out, or all of the, what are they called? The pieces that I needed out of the fabric, out of the curtain fabric. And I've actually got loads of like scraps left over as well. I even made a mistake at one point and cut something the wrong way, and I had enough to do to, you know, get a second piece. So I went from thinking I couldn't even get the skirts to cutting everything out. I didn't film it, but I had done a very brief little kind of test piece with the lining of the curtain, just to see how this would fit around the bust. I didn't sew it or anything, and I didn't even make the back bit because it just took me ages, but I felt like it seemed about right. At the time, I thought I would be using the jersey shirt bit for the back panels. So I thought, even if it's not exactly right, this is quite stretchy and it'll have some stretch in it. Obviously, I've now actually managed to cut everything out of the curtain material and there's absolutely no stretch in it. So if it doesn't fit, then we'll see. But actually, by the time I've put a zipper in and everything, it will probably be fine. I mean, this, I don't know if you can tell, but it feels about right. Like, this is only the front part, and then obviously there's the back bit as well, and then plus the zipper, which will give a bit of space. So I think that's probably about right. So the next part is I'm going to pin all the pieces together, and then I'm gonna have to take a little break because I'm actually doing a stream this evening, so I'm gonna have to get ready and make sure everything's good for that. I may or may not do some sewing tonight. It's unlikely. I reckon by the time I'm done, I'll be absolutely exhausted. But tomorrow, once it's all pinned together today, tomorrow I just have to do the sewing. I might tonight, if I don't do the sewing tonight, get the patterns for the cloak done as well. So that's ready to go, and then I can just have a big sewing day tomorrow and do the foam pieces either tonight or tomorrow. I don't know. I'll just fit whatever I can fit in, wherever I can fit it in. But I reckon I should have it all done by tomorrow evening. I've got no streams tomorrow, so I've got a whole day where I can just get anything done. The sewing might end up taking ages if the sewing machine is a pain. But I'm excited. I'm so excited to see it all come together. Yeah. It is day 2 of my project, and I'm hoping to get everything done today, which I think is looking pretty promising. The only concern I have really is the bits made out of foam. Thinking about it now, I probably should have started them yesterday, because obviously, like, you know, you gotta cover them in plastic dip and that's gotta dry, and then paint and dry and blah 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 blah. So I kind of wish I'd started that yesterday, because then I think I would be well underway to finish today. As it stands, I'll most definitely get the dress and the cloak done today, like I'm pretty much there. But the foam bits might just take an extra day, but I'm still holding out hope that it's gonna be done today. What I'm gonna do today, so actually I'll talk you through what I've done yesterday, because I did some a little bit of sewing off camera, and I just did some like pinning together of stuff just so I'm ready to go today, because I wanted to just like crack on with it. So I sewed the skirt and the skirt part of the dress, and yeah, I mean, there's nothing special to report. I tried it on. It's currently quite loose around the hips, but I haven't done the hemming around the top of it yet, so that'll make it a little bit smaller. And then obviously it's going to be held up by the bodice anyway, so hopefully that should work out. And then there might be a bit of ruching at the top. I don't really know how this works, but it's looking gorgeous. I'm very excited about that. In terms of the kind of more like the bodice part, all I did last night is just pin up like all the bits together, so that all I have to do this morning or today is do the sewing. I need to pop to the shop at some point and get a zip. I didn't want to get a zip until I knew what length I had to get. Realistically, I could have figured that out like ages ago, but I didn't. So I'll measure that today and then pop to the shop and get a zip, so I can close and open this. Right? But then that's pretty much good to go. Oh, I guess that's the bodice, and then once I've done whatever sewing I need to do with the bodice, there's the sleeves as well, which I haven't done anything with yet. They're just kind of there. And oh my god, last night I decided to do what I did with the dress and put together the pattern for the cloak. When I put it together, it was massive. Like, it took up my entire living room floor, and that was only half of it. And so I was a bit like, I don't feel like there's gonna be enough fabric for this. Bear in mind, I've just got a couple of curtains for this as well. I will say, I'm pretty sure that I didn't actually ever like hold them up except for this kind of more golden one. The red curtain must have been quite a lot smaller because the golden one was massive. So it actually turned out
that. I couldn't do it as one piece, unfortunately. In the instructions it said like to have like a folded over piece of fabric that so it's cut out of one piece, but that was just not possible. I just about got the template down, the pattern down onto one piece. So I cut them out separately, and I have also just pinned this together. So that's one of the things I'll be doing today, is just sewing them together. And then, oh god, it is absolutely huge. But I literally had like a moment of panic last night, and then when I laid it all out and it was working out, I felt like a genius. Like I felt real good. I'm a genius. Genius. Oh. So like the cloak's not really going to need much. It's just going to need sewing together, and then the hems, and then the cloak is done, to be honest. There's like a slight bit of decoration around the edge. I can take that or leave it. The top of the cloak is going to be covered by the foam kind of brace thing that she's wearing. So you know, if there's any rough edges, no one's going to see that. And the dress, as I said, is going to be mostly covered by the cloak. So this is like quite a forgiving costume, I will say. Because of all that, it makes me getting that foam brace right more important than anything. So I'm going to begin today by getting that measured out, I guess, and template patterned up and cut and covered in plasti dip. And then all I need to do is like the decorating and slash painting or whatever. And then the headpiece. But I think that's pretty straightforward. I don't think that'll take very long. Let's go.
I start by wrapping myself around with some cling film and then putting some masking tape on top of that. Obviously, otherwise I would just be sticking masking tape on myself, and believe you me, that hurts. Not shown is me drawing the approximate shape that I want onto the masking tape and then cutting myself out of it. A quick tidy of the desk so I can actually do some crafting. Oh, hello. I marked the different sections with random letters, like front part and back part, I think was what they were supposed to be. And I labeled them so I know how to put them back together once they're cut out in foam. I traced them onto some foam. And then very carefully I use an X-Acto knife to cut them out. This is super thin 2mm EVA foam that I'm using here, by the way, and I'm applying some contact cement to stick it all together. I follow the guidelines to stick them all together and make sure that I create that shape that I need to go around my shoulders and my breasts.
Her name's Fashion. Fashion. And weapon. And weapon.
Off camera, I've applied 2 coats of plasti dip and a couple of coats of black spray paint. And now I'm using a gold hot glue stick that I got at Lidl. It came in a pack of a bunch of different glittery colours, but gold was the one I really wanted for this project. It came out clear to start with because there was obviously some clear glue left in the gun before the gold stuff came out. I'm not really drawing any particular thing right now. I'm just basing it off what I can see from the promo poster which is not a lot, and I'm creating rough shapes and just trying to fill it in as much as possible to get that idea of what the design might be. You can also see when I did the plasti dip and spray paint coat, I also added some Velcro to the back of it so I can open it and close it quite easily. For the headpiece, I plunged into my scrap foam box. I fished out the perfect size foam, well, it was probably bigger than I needed really, and I just approximately held it to my head and drew the rough shape of what I needed and cut it out with a box cutter. For the earrings, I actually made those myself as well using shrink plastic. I drew a round shape using, as you can see, a Vaseline tin. I coloured in with a gold Sharpie pen. I made 2 of those. I stuck them in the oven for 2 or 3 minutes. And when they came out, they were a lovely smaller version of themselves. I then applied the little nipple part using hot glue and colouring that in with a Sharpie as well as attaching the earring hooks using hot glue as well. Once I made all those little accessories, I could get back to sewing. I fucked up. I had this all sewed together and it was beautiful, except that one of the armholes was much bigger than the other, and I was wrecking my head like, what did I do wrong? Why is it all wrong? I measured things seemed right. Essentially what I did is I accidentally sewed both the front panels on the left side and both the back panels on the right side, rather than front, back. So I've just had to rip it all up. Well, rip up the wrong bits, and now I'm going to sew them back on, but you live and you learn. So I am a sewing noob, but look how neat this stitching is. I'm the best! Day 2 is done. It is midnight. I've just finished. I've been working pretty much non-stop since I think 8 AM. So it's been a long day. I'm very tired. But I'm done. I'm done. I did a lot of hot gluing and sewing and pinning, and I made a mistake somewhere, so I had to rip something up and I had to put it back together. I've really enjoyed it though. I've really been enjoying working on this project. So I can't wait to go out and take some pictures tomorrow. I'm a bit scared. I've never really gone outside in costume to take pictures. So my plan was / is to get up early and do it. But it's late now. And I'm so tired. Alright, after shots complete, I'm headed back to the car. My wonderful partner came with me this morning to do some shots for me. Oh my god, I need to be careful not to fall through this very precarious bridge. Look at these. Look at these. Okay, so that's it. That's the costume. I'm like blown away with what I've made. I'm really, really proud of it. I've not been as proud about a project for a while, so I'm like super, super happy. And I think the pictures that we took, that my partner very kindly took of me, speak for themselves. I hope you enjoyed the journey of me making my House of Dragons girl from the poster inspired cosplay. Maybe it inspired you to make something yourself, and if it does, tag me, let me know. I want to see creations. I love seeing other people's cosplays, and I mean, I'm new to this, but if I'm learning as I go, and if there's any advice you want or any questions you have, feel free to ask. I most likely don't know the answer. There are people who are much more qualified and experienced than me, but I am learning, and this project was so much better than my last project or the project before, because every project I've been learning and taking those learnings with me, and I'm excited to see what's gonna come next. I'm a little bit nervous that the next thing is gonna be absolute cack, and that is just gonna be it's not gonna be all uphill, is it? Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, I'm trying to do more videos like this, not necessarily just cosplay, but making, crafting, artsy things. So keep your eyes peeled for future videos. You can also hit that subscribe button, of course, to be notified of other videos I make. It's kind of a mishmash over here, so buckle up.